The streets of London were still wet from the evening rain, reflecting the golden glow of street lamps on the slick cobblestones. Deep inside the heart of the city, the prestigious Royal Crown Bank stood like a fortress. Tall marble pillars, heavy bronze doors, and the reputation of being unbreachable. For over a century, no one had ever succeeded in breaking into its vaults. That was about to change. Ethan Cross was not your ordinary thief. A former locksmith with a flawless memory, he had been working as a maintenance contractor for months, silently studying the bank's routines, its security systems, and the habits of its staff. To him, theft was not about greed, it was a game of intellect. And this game was his masterpiece. The plan had been in motion for 93 days. Ethan knew exactly when the guards switched shifts, the seconds it took for the cameras to refresh their feeds, and the precise timing of the vault's locking mechanism. He wasn't going to storm in with masks and guns. He would walk in as if he owned the place, and walk out the same way. On a Friday evening, just before closing time, Ethan entered wearing his contractor uniform, pushing a rolling tool cart. The receptionist barely glanced at him. She'd seen him dozens of times before, repairing locks and adjusting door hinges. In his cart, hidden under screwdrivers and drills, was his real weapon, a sleek laptop, a small thermal imaging device, and a custom-built signal jammer no bigger than a paperback book. Ethan made his way to the security control room. The guard on duty, Paul, nodded lazily, sipping his coffee. "Lock maintenance again?" Paul asked. "Yeah, that stubborn side panel," Ethan replied casually. His voice was calm, his smile disarming. Within minutes, Ethan had connected his laptop to the control panel, looping the camera feeds to show empty hallways even as he moved. The vault was located underground, accessible through a biometric scanner and a heavy steel door that could resist explosives. But Ethan had no intention of forcing it open. Over weeks, he had collected partial fingerprints from the branch manager's coffee mug and pieced together the pattern. The missing piece? A harmless conversation with the manager 2 days earlier, where a handshake gave him the final print impression on a hidden latex strip in his glove. He approached the biometric scanner and pressed the synthetic print against it. A green light blinked. Access granted. Inside the vault, hundreds of safety deposit boxes lined the walls, each belonging to wealthy clients who believed their secrets and fortunes were untouchable. Ethan knew exactly which locker he was after. Number 713. It belonged to a reclusive businessman with a notorious history of illegal arms deals. Inside, intelligence reports suggested, was a case containing not just cash, but also untraceable diamonds. Ethan knelt before the locker and pulled out his master key set, each key handcrafted to mimic the exact wards of the bank system. The lock clicked open in less than 8 seconds. The sight that greeted him was almost poetic, a velvet-lined case, heavy with bundles of crisp pounds and glittering stones. He smiled, slipping it into the false bottom of his tool cart. The hardest part wasn't getting in, it was getting out without suspicion. Ethan wheeled his cart back up the hallway, pausing to chat with Paul again about football scores. He signed out at the front desk, the same calm smile on his face, and stepped into the cool London night as the bank doors closed behind him. By the time the vault alarm silently triggered, detecting the unauthorized opening of locker 713, Ethan was already crossing the Thames on a black motorbike, the case securely hidden in a weatherproof backpack. Within an hour, he disappeared into the maze of London's backstreets, changing jackets, helmets, and even the bike at pre-planned drop points. The Royal Crown Bank called it the most sophisticated theft in London's modern history. Security experts were baffled. There was no sign of forced entry, no broken cameras, and no fingerprints. It was as if the thief had walked through walls. Newspapers called him the Phantom. Some say Ethan vanished overseas with millions in diamonds. Others whisper he still lives in London, walking among the crowd, a man whose greatest weapon is patience. For Ethan, the thrill wasn't in spending the money, it was in knowing he had beaten a system that claimed to be unbeatable. And somewhere, locked away in a hidden flat above a quiet London cafe, the velvet-lined case still rests, waiting for the day he decides to play the game again.